Welcome to Catholic Mom Mindset, a daily show where you learn to walk closely with the Holy Spirit so you can live the life God is calling you to. I'm your host, Sterling Jaquith. Let us begin. Welcome to day 8. Today we're talking about when you begin noticing the thoughts that you have about the circumstances in your life, then what do you do? So I'm going to continue along the theme of yesterday of having a lot of little kids, because I used to think for a long time that my life was bad because I had a lot of little kids. I felt stuck at home. There was so much noise. There was so much poop. People threw their food on the floor. And I just kept getting pregnant, even though I didn't want to get pregnant. And so I just looked out into the future and saw no end in sight. And I was very unhappy in my own life. Even though I knew that there would be women who would be so happy with my life. And on the outside, it looked like a good life, but my experience of it was so negative. So I want you to pick something in your life that you feel bad about. You're like, I really don't like this. This is the thing I think that is making me unhappy. If this thing were different, I think I could be happier. So I'm going to go back to this example of having a lot of little kids. And I gave some of my thoughts yesterday, like, this is so hard. This is never going to end. I'm stuck here. This is terrible. It's lots of poop and crying. Those were all my unintentional thoughts, the thoughts that are just flying around in my brain, my unmanaged brain. I'm not managing those thoughts. They're just showing up. And they're creating lots of negative feelings in my body. And then I'm reacting as not a great mom because I'm acting out of those negative emotions. And so I'm probably numbing myself out and not creating connection with the kids and not really praying with the Lord because I'm just upset. So we're going to take 10 steps back and you're going to trust me for a moment. And go, all right, I'm hanging with Sterling. She's a life coach. She says that things can be better. And we're going to ask ourselves, how do we want to feel instead? So when I think about my life, instead of feeling trapped, instead of feeling resentful, instead of feeling hopeless, how do I want to feel instead? And 2 feelings really helped me when it came to having a different experience of my kids. One of them was willing. Just the feeling of willingness. Because when you hear all of my thoughts before, they were all in resistance. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. This shouldn't be happening. I don't even want this many kids. Resistance. Can you feel it? And so when we drop resistance and we just choose the feeling of a willingness, it feels like all this weight melts off of us. And then you just ask yourself, if I wanted to feel willing, what would I need to think? And for me, it was, Lord, I will do this for you. Lord, I'm willing to do this today. I'm here for this today, Lord. Those are all thoughts that I could think, that I could practice thinking that would lead to the feeling of willingness. And then I wasn't Mary Poppins happy about what was happening, but I wasn't angry and I wasn't upset and I wasn't fearful. And from the feeling of willingness, I could sit in the same living room and watch these kids on the floor and just be like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm here. This is okay. Those were all thoughts that I could practice, and I had to write them down and practice them. The other feeling is hope. I really wanted some hope. I felt so hopeless and I wanted some hope. And I thought, what could I possibly think that would lead me to feeling hope in this situation? And it might just be literally, I can't be pregnant forever. These kids are getting older. It is better than it used to be. I could always find evidence that things were better. I was a much better mom 3 kids in than I was 1 kid in. I'm a much better mom 6 kids in than I was 3 kids in. And when I set my brain to finding, oh, it's better, then it created the feeling of hope in me because I knew it would probably get even better. So I love these as target feelings, willingness, and hope. I want you to think about something that's difficult in your life right now. And I want you to imagine what you would need to think about that circumstance. The circumstance might be related to your husband or your home or your money or a relationship or your fertility, your own health. What do you need to think about that circumstance in order to feel willing to live with it right now for the Lord? What would you need to think to feel willing, or what would you need to think to feel hope? This is how we begin to live our lives intentionally for the Lord. All right, you guys, thanks so much for listening and have a blessed day. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Catholic Mom Mindset. To learn more about growing closer to the Holy Spirit, check out our free resources at madeforgreatness.co. Thank you so much for listening and have a blessed day.